Hey folks, Alex here from 9 to 5 to Freedom. Hope everybody's having a great day. In today's video, we're going to make it brief. We're going to touch base on what's going on in the market, an update on my portfolio, what I did to prepare for these tariffs. Did I make a mistake? Did I do the right thing? We'll discuss that. And yeah, so that's what I got planned today. Let's hop into it. A lot of things are going on in the market. Okay, so latest news from on our tariff topic, right? So Trump just threatened more than a dozen countries with new tariffs by August 1st. So initially, we talked about in the last video 2 days ago that July 9th, we were supposed to expect some tariffs kicking in. We talked about how to reduce the margin with what positions I have currently in my portfolio, how to minimize that risk in case we have a huge downturn similar to what we had back in April. Now it looks like the can's being kicked again, and more threats towards new countries. Let's just take a look at S&P 500. What's going on in it today? Looks like we're very flat. It's been very choppy up and down. Not much movement. The past 5 days, we're up 0.74%. Year to date, folks, we are slightly down. We were at 7% from last video I made. We're down to 6.21. A little bit of uncertainty what's going to happen with this. Okay, so this makes investing very stressful because you're just thinking about what's going to be the next tariff and how's that going to impact your portfolio. So it's a fine balance. This is the way I look at it. It's a fine balance between the greed and fear, right? So everybody's in the same place, whoever invests in the market. And the greed part is we want to have more on margin. We want to be able to have more dividends that are coming in. And the fear at the same time is we don't want to have a margin call. We don't want to lose what we have and be wiped out and just become a statistic. So that's really what's going on, what's happening. And what am I doing, right? So last video, I talked about how I wanted to reduce my margin from $114,000 down to about $80,000, which would get me somewhere in the 50% margin. Now, I ended up doing the following, and let me just share this with you. This is a screenshot of the orders that I placed. So I ended up selling Plady $16,000 of Plady positions. I ended up selling $6,700 of Hui position. I ended up selling $9,300 on Coney position, $8,400 on NVIDIA position, and $7,800 on AMDY position. Now, the reason I chose these is basically the ones that I was up on. So Plady, I was up like 4% on. Hui, I was up on. NVIDIA, I was up on. Coney, I was flat, and I was flat on AMDY. Now, these haven't recovered fully their dividend. And the other reason I chose these is because none of these are going to pay me dividends this week. I wanted to keep the ones that are paying me dividends and reduce my position. Now, this totaled more than what I wanted to sell off because I thought about it some more. I wanted to be even more conservative. Let me show you my portfolio, folks, for those who are new. So right now I have $160,000 and $689 of my own money in here, and I have $65.8 thousand on margin. So all of the money between the two positions, what's on margin and what's on cash, make up a total of, drum roll, $226,000 and $480. Okay, so I've reduced that from roughly about 275, my total position. Now, what's the game plan here? Okay, let's take a look what's going on in the markets today. So today we are slightly up right now. As of right now, we're slightly up on QDTE. Misty, we are down, but it's pretty much flat. XDT, we are slightly up. BTCI, we're up. And let's see, PLTY went down. So I'm glad I sold some of that off because this was up like 4%. So that was a good call. Again, I didn't know what was going to happen. Tesla, we're slightly up. We had, pretty bad couple of days with Tesla stock. And I think a lot of that had to do with the announcement of a new political party. Tesla stock is so politicized. It's so volatile. Honestly, I feel like I'm holding way more than I should be. NVIDIA, we're up year to date 9.77%. Look at this. This is up almost $800 today. Very nice. SMCY is, I'm sorry, that's total. SMCY is up today as well. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, this is down 19%, but a lot of it is due to the fact that I bought into this position right before the tariffs were announced back in April. So I'm slowly recovering. It's been kind of up and down, but I'm just gonna hold on to it right now. TSMY, today we're slightly down, pretty much flat. And yeah, so that's where we're at, $65,000 on margin. I feel much better in case we have a huge dip or uncertainty in the next week or two. I want to make sure that I don't feel that pain. Now, this brings up, the next question is, well, did this reduce my income? Well, if I go over to the dividend view, and if you're in Fidelity, you go in here, and this will tell you here, and this is estimating $153.8 thousand per year. Now, at any point in time, I can jump back into these positions and buy these shares back on margin. Now, none of the ones that I've sold are paying out this week. This week, we're getting a payout from TSLY, from Tesla, and TSMY. So those are the two that we're expecting. Now, Tesla has been down, so we're going to see what kind of dividend we're going to see there. But the way I thought about it, there's I feel like there's more risk holding on this week than there is upside. Let's say if some of these ETFs were to go up in price this week, I would obviously lose out on those gains. But I wanted to play it on the safer side. So I guess I went a little bit more bearish and I reduced my risk, and that's where I'm at. Now, this is, I think, a very, very conservative, amount to have versus what I have in my cash position. But I don't like the mix right now with how much I have exposure to yield max. Okay, that's another thing that I want to address eventually, is to reduce my position on yield max and really to diversify between XDT and QDT. Yes, they pay less dividend, folks. You're not getting those huge dividends, but also the recovery of the dividends from the yield max one are very spotty. Just take a look at some of the holdings here, okay? So, Tesla, again, that's down. Platy is up. NVIDIA is up. TSMY is up. Now, the other two I sold was AMD and Coney, and both of those were down. So we're about like a 50-50 shoot on some of these positions. And Misty is down too. This hasn't recovered yet, and hasn't recovered its full dividend. The dividend we got last week from Misty was around $3,200, and we are down $2,800. So in reality, I got $400 from Misty. Okay. If this is the way it's going to trend, let's do our math here. If all we're going to get is $400 a month times 12, that's $4,800 a year, divided by my position. My position is 54,906. That's about an 8.7% return on investment. Okay, some folks, they just go and they look at the Yield Max website. Oh, it tells me it's 100% dividend. No, if it doesn't recover, you're not getting that. Now compare that to QDT. Yes, this one doesn't promise the moon, and still it's a lofty one. And I'm getting a lot of questions, folks, in the comments. How are you expecting 30% dividends? Well, QDT is a good one. Okay, in the bull market, and I feel pretty bullish. I think eventually we're going to get through these tariffs and we're going to move forward. But look at this, folks. QDT is paying around 34%. The whole position is up 1.39% since I bought it. Okay, so all the dividends I received plus its gains, and it's given me 34% a year. Now, is that too much to ask, or is that too little? That's the other thing you want to think about. It's long term. How can you hold these yield max long term and not be worried? If I had $1 million in here, would I spread them among 6 different yield max funds? I don't think so, because a lot of these they don't recover. It's a ski slope. People kind of fool themselves. Now some of these have been great, like Misty. Right now it's down, but I've made like $8,000 on Misty. So yes, I'm still in the green. I'm still doing very good on it. But Coney didn't recover. It's very flat. Will it go up? Maybe. Will it go down? Most likely. So that's the reality we must face. And I'm just thinking logically. Let's say if at one point I had $400,000 in this account. Let's say $400,000. Let's say I held $300,000 of my own money and I had a $100,000 margin position, right? So really, I'm 140 grand short of that goal. So let's say if I had $400,000, well, take $400,000 times point, let's say 3.4 is what you're getting from QDTE. That's $136,000 a year. Now, obviously, you're gonna have the margin interest. Okay, so margin interest is 100,000. For me, it's 0.06375%. I know, folks. I made a video about trying to lower your margin. I gave my advice. Some folks said it didn't work, and I can't bend their arms at Fidelity if they're changing their policies, or if you're getting folks who are unable to negotiate. That's not really my fault. Go over to Robinhood. Get your 5.25%, whatever they're offering. So 63.75 is what you'll pay in margin interest a year. So 136,000 minus the 6,000. So 130,000, and let's say you're going to pay taxes on it. Obviously, let's just be a little bit on the conservative side. Let's say you're going to pay 20. I don't know. Let's say you're going to pay 25% in taxes. So 32. So you can get $100,000. Let's say post tax. That's a salary, folks. A lot of, this is middle income salary. You're not going to be buying a yacht or anything, but majority of people in America make less than $100,000. So if you could get your finances in order, you can sack this up. And again, even QDT and XDT are more on the risky side. If we go with something more safe like QQQI or SPY, and let's say you're shooting for 15%, even then, let's say you're going to get half of that. So $400,000 times point, let's see, 1.5, that'll get you $60,000. Yes, it's not lavish money, but it's still a very, very nice income that you're able to produce. So that's where we're at. That's what the portfolio is doing, folks. That's what I did. Did I make a mistake? Did I do the right thing? Leave a comment below. And we'll see you on the next video, folks. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate all the new subscribers. This channel is taking off. I wanted to keep going. And this is all free. None of this financial advice. I don't sell any courses. I don't have any private Discord communities or anything like that. I'm just giving you as it is. I'm tracking this for myself. And have a good one, folks. Stay frosty.